Okay, so today we are going to be working with multiplying a 2 by 2 digit number using the area model. The area model is just one method that you can use when multiplying larger numbers, okay? So today, your assignment will require you to use this area model, okay? We're gonna go through a couple examples. I'm gonna put them up on the board of what your sheet looks like, but I'm also gonna teach you how to actually draw it yourself, okay? So let me pull it up on the dot cam. Maybe. Of course it turned off on me. Who knows?
Just snap a couple times. We're waiting here when it's really not even turning.
Okay, it's coming.
I see it a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in and we're going to do one of these together. Well, I'm going to model one first and then we'll do one together. Okay. So there it is on the board. Okay. So let's look at this one. So when doing the area model, what you're basically doing is you're pulling the number apart by place value, okay? In this problem right here, we have 68 times 52, okay? In order to do that, now I don't really like this box. I don't like how there's like no room to write, okay? So you can kind of create your own space if you need to. This box is probably one of the worst ones on the sheet, but you can make your own box if it helps you. But what you're doing is you're breaking each number apart by its place value. So 68, 6 is in the what place value? 10. The tens. How many tens do I have? 6. 6 tens equals what? 60. So I have 60 and then plus, how many ones? 8. Okay? Same thing applies for 52. The 5 is in the what place? Tens. How many 5s do I have? How many 10s do I have? 5. 5 tens is what? 50. I'm going to put a 50 here. And how many ones do I have? 2. Okay? When you're looking at an area model, I think of it as the multiplication chart. When you're using a multiplication chart and you're trying to find out 2 times 6, you're going to find the 2, you're going to find the 6, and you're going to meet in the middle, right? And that gives you your answer. The area model works the same way. You're going to meet in the middle to get your answer. Although in this instance, you actually have to do the work, okay? So I'm going to meet, everything in this row is going to have 60 in it. Everything in this row is going to have 8. Same thing applies this way and this way. Okay, so we have 50 times 60, okay, and then we have 50 times 8, okay. Down here, we have 60 times 2, and then we have 2 times 8, okay. So I've got those all written in there. Now, the last couple days before yesterday, we were working on multiplying multiples of 10. When we did that, we identified the digit that was not a 0, and then we looked at how many zeros we had to determine if it was going to be 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, 1,000 times bigger, and we accounted for each 0 to hold the place value. Okay? Same thing applies when we're doing area model. I'm going to underline my 5 and my 6, okay? Which 5 times 6 is what? 30. And then I have, it's going to get 10 times bigger here and 10 times bigger here, which means it's going to get 100 times bigger. And I can add both those zeros to hold that place value. So 50 times 60 is 3,000. Now I do the same thing here. 5 times 8 is what?
40.
40. And then it's going to get 10 times bigger. There's no other, just 10. Oops. Sorry, that's my bad. 10 times bigger, so I'm going to add one more 0 to hold that place value. So 50 times 8 is 400. Okay, now we're down here. We have 6 times 2. So 6 times 2 is?
12.
12. Okay, and we have, it's going to get 10 times bigger. Okay, we have 1 0 to hold the place value, so we're going to have 60 times 2 is 120. And then 2 times 8 is what?
16.
16. Now, I take my answers. Notice the strategy I'm using, I'm circling them so that I am very clear what numbers have to be added together. Okay, so then I can take them and I line them up. One mistake that kids typically make is not lining up their numbers. Okay, so it's really important that we line them up according to their place value. Sometimes people will line up from the left to the right, but we've learned in our last unit it's really important to have all the ones lined up, the tens lined up, the hundreds lined up. Okay, so I've put these in there. Now I have 120, and then I have 16. I add those together. I have 0 plus 0 plus 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. 4 plus 1 is
5.
And 3. So my answer to 68 times 52 is 3,536. Okay? So that's what the area model looks like on your sheet that you're going to be doing. And like I said, I don't really like how they set this box up. I'm going to show you one more time drawing your own box, because you always do have that option if you don't like the way it looks, okay? Because it still works the same. But ultimately what I'm doing is I'm taking each number and I'm expanding it out based on place value, and it allows me to look at each number separately, okay? So I'm going to show you one more before I allow you to do some independent practice. Okay, so let's see, we're going to do 55 times 63. So if this were my problem, and I had to do this problem right here, this is how I would set up an area model. Basically, an area model is, in essence, a box, just like you saw. In the last box, you saw one big spot. They give you that big spot for the tens place, okay? Because it is essentially, they're trying to show you that that spot in the area model would be bigger if it truly was counting the area. Because remember, area is what takes up space. And in that one spot, what was it? What do we have? Was it 3,000? 3,000 is way bigger than some of the other numbers, so that's why that spot was so much bigger. But for the sake of doing this, you don't have to have your boxes different sizes. As long as you understand what you're doing, why and how you expand the number out, it doesn't matter how big your boxes are. Okay? So when I look at this, I might make it a little bigger, but probably not that much bigger. Okay? I have 55. 5 is in my tens place. How many tens do I have? 5. 5 tens equals what? 50. Okay? How many ones do I have? 5. Okay, so this number right here, 50 plus 5 represents my 55. Do you think it would matter if I put it here? Could I put 50 plus 5 here instead? Would that work?
Yeah.
It would. So it doesn't necessarily matter what number you choose to put on the top or what number you choose to put on the side. It does not matter. It all works the same. Okay? So I'm just going to leave it there for the sake of not erasing it again. And now we have 63. How many tens do I have? 6. 6 tens equals what? 60. How many ones do I have? 3. Okay? So now, just like a multiplication chart, I'm going to meet in the middle. Obviously, this entire row will have 50 in it. This one will have 5, and the same thing applies going down. Okay? So here, sometimes kids need to see this. It's okay to touch your paper and point where it meets. So I'm going to have 50 times 60. Okay? And some kids also like to do one box at a time. And that's okay too, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. Okay? So I'm going to do 5 times 6 is what? 30. And then it's going to get 10 times bigger, and then another 10 times bigger, which equals 100 times bigger. So I have 1, 2, 1, 2. So 3,000. Wow, we had that again. I just had that last time. Okay? So that box is already done. And some kids also like to start their adding as they go. See how I'm starting my column right away? You can do that too. Whatever works best for you. As long as you're going through the process, you're understanding that you're expanding the number out based on its place value, whatever works best for you. So now I have 50 times 3. Okay? I have 5 times 3 is what?
15.
5 times 3 is what?
15.
Thank you for being engaged. 50, it's going to get 10 times bigger. So I count that 1 0 and add it in. And I'm going to keep doing what I said I would do. I'm going to add that to my column that will be added later. Okay, now I have 60 times 5. I want you to know, though, that I could write it like, I can write it like this, though. It means the same thing. Very important to know that, too. But the rule still applies. 5 times 6 is what?
30.
30. It's going to get 10 times bigger. So I'm adding 1 0. And now I have 300. Okay? And now my last column, I have 5 times 3. And that is 15. So like I said earlier, you could go through and write all your equations first, then go back and multiply, and then add them up. Or you could do one at a time and keep adding to your column that needs to be added later. Okay? Again, one thing I told you, very important, you have to have it lined up correctly. It will not work. And I will tell you, I'll be honest, this method takes longer. But this method is an amazing way to check your work. Once I do eventually teach you the standard algorithm. But there is nothing wrong with using this method. This method is very concrete as far as what you're doing. You're pulling apart a number based on its place value, you're expanding it out, and you're multiplying each place value individually. I'm going to tell you, this takes longer, but if I would have learned how to multiply like this when I was a kid, I would have gotten it much faster than I did. I did not have someone teach me this way. Okay? And yes, it does take longer. But guess what? When you take your multiplication test weeks from now, you should check your work with with area model or the pull apart method that I'll teach tomorrow. Because guess what? Wouldn't you want to guarantee getting it correct?
Yeah.
I would. In this day and age, we do use calculators a lot. But when we don't, and we can't, let's make sure that we have other steps to help make sure we're correct. Because it is easy to make mistakes. But if you check it using a different method, then you have a greater chance of being accurate. Okay? So let's finish this one by adding up the columns.
5.
Okay, 5 and 5 and 1 is?
6.
1 and 3 is?
4.
And 3? So we have 3,465. Okay? You ready to try one on your own?
Yes.
Okay. you go. Go ahead and try that.
This is a 2-digit by 2-digit, remember, yesterday we did a single digit. So today it's a 2-digit by a 2-digit, so you need to have how many boxes altogether?
You might need to make your box a little bigger so you have room to fit your numbers.